Hey, what's up, everybody? We've got an interesting one today. I received this. This was sent over to me free of charge. Oh, I guess, you know what? Maybe you want to see it. This was sent over to me free of charge in exchange for a review. And what we have here is an interesting box that if you look at it in pretty much all sides is pretty much a generic box. Doesn't have a manufacturer or model number on it. What it does have right here on this sticker, as you can see, is MaxTalker TK-6 one pack. So let's open this baby up and see what's inside. Move my glasses here for a second. All right, so first thing, this is interesting. We have a little pouch. I can't say that I have seen a radio yet that comes with a little carrying pouch. That's actually kind of cool. All right. Okay. And then here's the radio. Huh. Does that look familiar to any of y'all out there? It says MaxTalker right here on the front, and back here on the back, it says MaxTalker model TK-6. I'm going to take a picture of this label and put it up here on the screen so that you can see it. But I'm wondering if any of y'all, does that look familiar or sound familiar to anybody? I'm not going to give anything away, but wow. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's keep going. We have an antenna. And oh, another little antenna. Here's one of these little stub antennas. You know, something like this would probably work good if you just want to use your radio in your shack, maybe to talk to your hotspot or something along those lines. I don't think it's probably good for much more than that. They claim to be tri-band, but I really don't know. I don't know that they're any band. Definitely not 2 meters. So anyway, comes with that baby, and a longer antenna. Okay, let's see here. Oops, I bumped my microphone. No writing or designation, it looks like, on this at all to see what this may be. Yeah, no designation on the base of the antenna either. So probably a third-party antenna. I don't know, if maybe a knockoff. We have a generic owner's manual. All right. Programming cable, that's nice. Our obligatory over-the-ear speaker mic, a belt clip, a lanyard, and a desk charger. All right. Kind of interesting. All right, so I'm going to put some of this extraneous stuff here back in the box. And we'll take a little bit of a closer look at the radio. All right, we'll move that out of the way. So, yeah, so here's the radio, and you know, obviously I brought it out a little bit earlier, but this is obviously just a rebrand of the Quansheng UVK58, which is this radio here. And MaxTalker, I think, obviously must be purchasing and then relabeling these. it's something apparently that Quansheng, I'm assuming Quansheng, since it's a generic box and a generic owner's manual, I think this is something that Quansheng is actually doing, is rebranding these radios with third-party names. So we'll move forward here and we'll take a look at this radio on the spectrum analyzer. But I'm going to show you something first that actually really concerns me. So here, once again, I put up the picture of the label here. The FCC-ID on this is listed as XBP-UV-K6. X-ray Bravo Papa Uniform Victor Kilo 6. So here's why I want to bring that up. Let's see here. I will move this over here, and then I will turn this on here. And so here we will search for XBP UV K6. Search. No exact match for FCC-ID applications could be found for XBP UV K6. May not be valid. And then as you can see down here, this is actually the same result that you get straight off of the FCC's site, which I can show you here. I'll just pop over here. I already had it in UVK6, search, no applications on file that match XBP UVK6. And what I was, now I will show you also, I'll put a copy of this label on the screen as well. But here you can see that the UVK58 has an FCC ID of XBP UVK5. Search. And there is the FCC ID files for the Quansheng UVK58. So I don't know if this this XBP UVK6 is something that they just decided they were going to make up and put on this label because it's a TK-6 radio, or you know, I'm not really sure, but just the fact that they've got a label on it with an FCC ID that doesn't exist, honestly, this would be a time where I would not do anything more with this radio because it's not, you know, necessarily worth the time. But I think what I will do is I'll go ahead and throw it on the spectrum analyzer and we'll take a look at it and see how it looks. I have a feeling it's going to be identical to a UVK58, and we can run them side by side just to verify. So let's head over to the spectrum analyzer and take a look. Okay, so we are going to be using our Siglent spectrum analyzer, and we're going to be using my normal setup here, a 40 dB attenuator going through a little RG316. I've been doing this, I'll repeat myself again here, but I've been doing this in order to try to alleviate any stress on the connector on the attenuator. So I've actually gone through a couple of these, and I think it has to do with screwing them on and off of the radios. And since I've been doing this, honestly, it has been great. I haven't had any issues with the attenuator since switching.
Welcome, channel mode 1.
All right, let's get out of channel mode.
Frequency mode 1, 4, 6, 5, 2, 0. Frequency mode 4, 4, 6, 0, 0, 0.
All right, so let's go back to our A band and
Power.
Low power. Now, I just sort of want to reiterate here. I think honestly the only reason that I'm willing to proceed with this at this point is because this is obviously a Quansheng UVK58. If this was some radio that I had never heard of before with a fake FCC-ID, I would have stopped immediately. But we're going to entertain it for now and just go through, knowing that it's a Quansheng. I also will show you later. I actually went and got out. I have another Quansheng here that is labeled as a UVK-6 on the box. And I just wanted to show you that even though this radio, this is a different one than the first one that I showed you, even though this one is a UVK-6, once you take the battery off, it still says UVK-6. I'll put the label up here so you can see it. It still is, it says UVK-6, but if you look, the FCC-ID is still XBP-UV-K5. So Quansheng is not misrepresenting their FCC-ID. It's the same FCC-ID for the K5 parentheses 8 as it is for their UVK-6. Basically the same radio. So I just wanted to sort of point that out. Honestly, I don't know if MaxTalker changed the FCC-ID so that when you went to the, you couldn't go to the FCC-ID database and see that it's a Quansheng. It doesn't make, I don't know why that would matter. It so obviously is. So what we're looking at here on the spectrum analyzer, I currently have this up with 100 to 900 megahertz, and we're just going to take a quick look at the spectrum here. Let me put in the offset for my attenuator, 40 dB, and let's just see what we got. This is low power on 2 meters, 146. Oh, let me see here.
1, 4, 6, 5, 2, 0.
All right. So there's what we're seeing. Actually, let's put up our display line on 16.02 negative. So that is our negative 16.02 dBm, which is equivalent to 25 microwatts. So for those of you who are not familiar, the FCC requirements for these types of transmitters is that the harmonics, the second harmonic and higher, has to be more than 50 dB down from the carrier frequency. And I did have a viewer ask what DBC was on the scope, and I'll show you when we get into the harmonics here in a bit. But DBC basically stands for dB from the carrier. So what's the difference in dB from the carrier frequency emission? So once again, we'll take a look at this real quick. Oh, you know what? That's probably not keeping on 5.2 because let's look and see what our step is. Yeah.
Frequency step. Confirm. Cancel. 1, 4, 6, 5, 2, 0.
All right. Oh,
Menu.
yeah, I was thinking.
Frequency. Confirm.
Oh.
Frequency. Confirm. Cancel.
Wow, what a pain. There, 14652. All right, now. So what you're seeing there is that the carrier frequency, the fundamental frequency is popping right up there at the beginning. And we are seeing the second harmonic, it's peaking up over that negative 16.02 dBm line. Oh, and I don't know if I finished explaining. These radios each harmonic needs to be more than 40 dB down from the carrier, and all the harmonics from the second on, none of them individually can be above 25 microwatts or negative 16.02 dBm. So what we're seeing here is that this performs pretty much similar to the pretty much similar to the Quansheng radio. We've got a little bit of an issue on that second harmonic. It's very, very close. So what we'll do here is I like to switch over. I like to show everybody this because there's a lot of people that are familiar with seeing what the spectrum looks like on a display like this. But then I like to go over to Harmonics, and we will put in a frequency of 146.52 megahertz. I don't think we need to look any further than 5 harmonics. And lately I've been doing averaging so that we get a averaging of 5 readings. It takes a little bit longer for it to settle to the final value, but you can actually see what we're looking at. So here we go. And there you have it, folks. So on 146.52, that second harmonic, it is so close that it's probably within the margin of error. Very, very close. Let's try a different power.
Power.
All right, this is medium power. Pretty much the same thing. That second harmonic right there at the edge. Third and fourth harmonics are definitely, if you look at that, they're minus 56 and minus 63 dBc. So those all fit the criteria. Actually, the second harmonic fits the 40 dB down criteria. So that's good. It's just how close it is to that 25 microwatt line. And this is so close that it's
Power.
it's up to you. Well, it's always up to you. You guys are always available to use your money to purchase whichever radio you want. I just like showing you what we're looking at so that you can make informed decisions. So here we are on high power. Once again, literally just playing with that 25 microwatt line. All the harmonics are greater than 40 dB down from that fundamental, so looks good there. Then what we can do is I will just switch over to 446 megahertz, and we will do the same thing.
Power.
Low power. Now that is a little bit more concerning. This gets into that little bit of a gray area with the FCC regulation because it's actually only up to 200 and I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but 200 and some megahertz is that requirement. So when you get into UHF, they don't have that requirement about the harmonics being below the 25 microwatt line. And what you have here is the harmonics are still, the second one is really still right at that line, but the third one is significantly above the 25 microwatt line. But like I say, it's not specifically called out that it has to follow that rule. I generally like my transceivers to be clean no matter what. So, why transmit on frequencies that they're not...
Power.
Oops, I turned that up a little bit. Medium power, pretty much the same.
Power.
Wow, I gotta turn that down. And on high power, those harmonics aren't really moving too much. They're all more than 40 dB down. But that second and third are definitely over that 25 microwatt line. In this situation, it's one of those where it's probably not as consequential because the FCC regulation does not specifically call out that those need to be there. Like I say, I tend to want them to be as clean as possible. But this Quansheng radio, I think, in this case, MaxTalker, I'm definitely assuming, and I don't know why that would be any different, this radio here from MaxTalker is probably going to be able to do all of the firmware hacks and changes that people are doing where you can receive HF frequencies, upper sideband, etc., on this radio. So I'm assuming that you can do the same thing with this. Just for grins, let's go ahead and we'll put the MaxTalker right here, and we will grab this Quansheng, and we'll look at the same thing really, really quick.
Welcome. Frequency mode.
All right, so 146.5, oops, 146.52. We'll go back here, 146.52. Oops. Hello. 146.52 megahertz. Okay. Oops, let's turn that radio off. That would be a good idea. All right, so what's interesting is look at this Quansheng UV-K5-8 really sitting just right on the 25 microwatt line with the second and third harmonic. In all reality, this one's third harmonic was better than the Quansheng radio. So let's just bump straight to high.
Power.
And on high power, that's literally right on it still. That's pretty much passing. That's within the margin of error for the radio. Now let's just go back here and actually see how this one does on UHF. It's pretty similar, almost the same profile. Second harmonic right on the line. Third harmonic is a little bit too much. So there you have it. Pretty much performing exactly the same between the two radios. I don't know what more we need to look into here. The Quansheng radio has been reviewed, and this is basically just the same radio. So I think what we'll do is I'll just head back over and we'll summarize. Hey everybody, actually before we go back and summarize, let's just, for funsies, let's just look and see how the waveform looks on this MaxTalker. Looks pretty darn good. That looks nice and clean. Looks like a good clean waveform. If you refer back to some of my previous videos, actually one of the first reviews of the TalkPod A36 back in the very beginning, that had a very erratic output of the sine wave. It was a very deformed sine wave. So that looks good. It's right on frequency, and looks nice and clean. And let's just switch down here real quick. 446. Also nice and clean. Looks good. All right, now let's go do the summary. Okay, everybody. So I think realistically here, the radio is a fine radio. It's just a Quansheng UV K58 or UV K6 rebranded by MaxTalker. What sets this radio apart from another Quansheng radio is pretty much basically the kit that comes with the radio. It is kind of cool that they include multiple antennas. Once again, your mileage is probably going to vary on what you do with this little guy. There's a lot of knockoffs. This one actually says diamond on it, but I don't know that it's a real diamond. Just to give you an idea, these things show up everywhere. Here's another one that says that it's a diamond. These don't say diamond on them, but they are still labeled SRH 805S's, same model. So just be careful with those. I definitely wouldn't transmit into those with any kind of significant power. But coming with the the regular antenna and this extended antenna, you know, and like I say, this one's probably good for really low power in your shack talking to a hotspot. And of course, then there's the desktop charger and the earpiece and a lanyard and the belt clip. Now, the reality is I think in my UV K6 box here, this was the K6, and as you can see in here, this just came with the antenna, a lanyard, a belt clip, and the desk charger, which actually the desk charger is obviously not in here. It's sitting over there and the radio's on it charging. So from a kit standpoint, I think that's really what sets this radio apart, coming with the programming cable and the pouch, and a couple different antenna choices is what sets it apart. I'm not going to get into a whole lot. The Quansheng radios, this model has a tremendous amount of custom firmware activity going on. They've got these radios receiving HF and doing all kinds of stuff. You can actually, I think some people have actually even written a few games that you can play on the display. I don't know why you would want to do that on your HT, but hey, you know, just to prove you can. So with that being said, the biggest problem that I have is the fake FCC-ID number. This radio performs exactly the same as any of the other Quansheng UVK58s or UVK6s. So we know that this is a decent little radio. I just don't like the misleading FCC-ID. I know some of you guys are going to say, no big deal, but what's the purpose? Just use the FCC-ID number that the radio is actually licensed under, and you'll be fine. So all that. All right, everybody. Actually, before we go to the summary, I mean it this time. I want to just open both of these so that we could just look at them inside. Here is the MaxTalker, and here is my Quansheng UVK6. So this is the K6, not the K58, but the K6. So we'll start with this one. And let's see here. These are kind of neat, these radios. They kind of are toolless to come apart. If you notice, I don't know how much you can see, the screw down nuts for both the volume knob and the antenna are actually below this plastic piece. So you can just open these up by just getting in here and popping out this bottom, and then they come forward carefully. They are attached. The speaker is attached. So there is the UVK6. And just looking for this little piece. I heard it fall. And then let's take a look at the MaxTalker. MaxTalker. And there we go. So let's see, what does the board say? So this MaxTalker says 2404, and this is 2333. Now here, look at here. This is I'm assuming board revision R51-V1.6 ZH18 Zulu Hotel 18. And this one is R51-V1.6 Zulu Hotel 18. So I'm assuming by looking at this that the board revision is the same between both radios. I think this has to do with probably the year and the manufacturing week. So I'm assuming this is the 33rd week of 23, and this is the 4th week of 2024. So there you have it. If there was any other question about them being identical, they definitely are identical. All right. I don't have much more to say about the radio. It's a solid little radio. Everybody's been doing a ton of reviews about the Quansheng equivalent, so I'm not going to go into all the depth of all the features and everything that this radio does. We can find that in a lot of other videos. So with that, please like and subscribe if you think that would be cool. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps out the channel immensely. Thank you, each and every one of you, for watching the videos and liking them and subscribing and dropping comments. It's awesome. I very much enjoy interacting with y'all. And with that, I'm going to say 7 threes, and we'll catch you in the next one.